Out in the disappearing landscape for grocery stores that is Baltimore.
You know, they call these areas, some areas in East Baltimore, food deserts.
Where you call home might say something about your income or your culture. But what about the food you eat? Well, it turns out Baltimore City has a massive food desert problem. Catherine Hawley's here with a closer look tonight.
Jamie, it's a problem that is easily overlooked, but 25% of people who live in the city have a hard time getting their hands on an apple or a salad. Researchers say they're starving for access.
Well, it's already hard for so many people living in the city to get to the grocery store. Where you live can mean walking blocks, catching buses, and hailing cabs just to make it to the supermarket. And in Baltimore, feeding your family healthy options may have just gotten a little harder. A city grocery chain is on schedule to close its doors for the last time.
A national report of health rankings released just this week has Baltimore City at the very bottom of the pack in our state.
And part of the problem apparently is more than a third of the city's neighborhoods are considered a food desert, where people don't have easy access to supermarkets or other healthy food sources.
ABC.
23.5 million Americans, including 6.5 million children, who live in what we call food deserts, in the inner city and in rural communities.
Lots of different definitions of food deserts, but most people basically say it's a place where there is not access, easy access, affordable access, reasonable access to fresh fruit, vegetables to a grocery store.
Hi everyone, I am Siobhan Terrell, a master's student studying city and regional planning, and I am currently active with the Black Church Food Security Network. I have been a member at Pleasant Hope for 6 months, and through my last 6 months I have been trying to get as active as possible, and one of the ministries that I serve on is Maxine's Garden. And Maxine's Garden is actually named after a Pleasant Hope member who actually was there during the founding, during the whole process of getting the groundwork laid for the garden. And the garden is 15 square feet, and it produces 1,200 pounds of fresh produce yearly. So how the garden got started. So Pastor Brown, the founder of the Black Church Food Security Network, during his site visits, going out to meet with members in different areas, he saw that a lot of members were in the hospital because of food-related illnesses. So he wanted to use the church to help give them access to fresh food, to help them eat more healthier, to help them create a whole healthy lifestyle. So the original plan was to create a partnership with Belvedere Square across the street. But Belvedere Square produce is expensive. So a partnership probably wouldn't have been as effective with the members. So we had the garden next door. Before it was a garden, the 1,200 square feet was just vacant land. It wasn't used for anything. It was just used to be mowed, cut, shovel snow. So he saw a more productive use for that. And that's how Maxine's Garden was created. So Sister Maxine stepped up to the leadership of creating a garden. And ever since then, the garden is 1,400 square feet, and it has been yielding 1,200 pounds of fresh produce yearly. And I think it's been highly effective in Pleasant Hope Baptist Church. Every time we have a donation sale or like a sale within for the church members, it sells out every time. So that is really awesome. I see the trajectory of the Black Church Food Security Network kind of gravitating towards community development. It's already doing community development work by establishing gardens in communities of color and Black communities. But I would like to see, or I aim to see, spillover. So I kind of spoke about it earlier, like economic spillover, career development spillover, generational wealth spillover. I would like to see more, not just Black churches, getting involved with the gardens, although it's the Black Church Food Security Network, but I would like to see more Black households, more Black families actually owning land. To include me in the pipeline of food distribution from farms to Black churches, to Black kitchens. I would like to see that because land is power. And if you have land, then you will have control over your family wealth. You will have more control over decision-making processes in your local government, as well as you will be engaging in a very revolutionary act, and providing fresh food to families. Also, I would like to see the spillover in the economic development sector. Someone saying, okay, I just love how these Black churches are creating this produce, and I feel like there is a line out the door now because of so many people coming in these Black churches for apples, for sweet potatoes, for lettuce, fried green tomatoes. I love fried green tomatoes. And the spillover is economic development because now someone sees the need of it. So now someone's like, you know what? I can start a grocery store. So there's a spillover. I can start a grocery store. I can start a market in this community. And now these Black churches, instead of having these lines outside of the door, I will help alleviate these lines. I will help you in the process of impacting the community through fresh food. I will help you in your processes of community development, having fresh food. And then I will also extend to different community members who necessarily don't feel comfortable asking for help, who don't necessarily feel comfortable going inside of a church house. So now that there's this fresh market outside with different churches around, so now someone can just walk out. Or I would just help in community development. So I would like to see more, not necessarily people that's engaged in church, but more like volunteers from students, more volunteers from community leaders say, okay, so I would share this post on my Facebook saying, okay, on X day, you can come to this church to get the sweet potatoes. One of our partners with the Black Church Food Security Network, the Black Yield Institute, founded by Eric Jackson. He likes to use the term food apartheid for these communities that need access to quality food, that need access to transportation, that need access to basic human right resources. Food apartheid because there is a political, a policy, a planning bias that goes into the makings, the formation of these communities, and that's the reason why they don't have access to these type of resources.